Good morning. Some of you have mentioned that reading is not really your thing, so this morning we're doing our blog on video. This blog is a message for the world, and it's a message about love. Jesus says the most important one is there, hear this, O Israel. The Lord your God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. And the second is this, love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. The leaders of the day were questioning Jesus. I guess it was sort of kind of like to see if they could stump him. So they had come up with this long scenario where there's 7 brothers, each marrying the brother before him's wife as they each die, and they leave no heirs. So their question to Jesus is, well, who will be the true husband of this one woman in the afterlife? You know, we can laugh about it and say this is silly, what a silly question to be thinking, but the truth is every day we do this same kind of questioning and rhetoric about who's sinning and who's not. Every day my social media is full of people taking sides on issues that really don't matter. Now, I want to say that this blog is for everybody. This blog is for my Christian friends, Buddhists, atheists, agnostics, and so on, because this message is one that comes for the world. You don't have to believe in a higher being or Jesus or any other deity or God for this message to matter to you, to matter to the world. As he finishes this, another person of law steps up to say, well, he's got a better question. Well, what is the greatest of the commandments? And that's when Jesus answers about love your God and love your neighbor as yourself. Now, that first commandment is personal with each of us, and I'll let you ponder that on your own with your own faith. But I'd like to examine today the second. The second message is for all the world. Even on a historical level, Jesus is radical because his message is so simple. It's an assault in the face of those whose egos reside in the fact that they follow all the rules, the law. The law was no easy or laughing matter in those days, and those who adhered to those strict rules were certainly patting themselves on the back. I often think of our common day health nut, I haven't eaten processed food in years, how dare you? So proud of the things we've done. But Jesus says, love one another. For me, that's the core of my being, the core of all my beliefs and the passion for my ministry. And I want to demonstrate why I think that's so important. Because if you take that and you say, love your neighbor, then you no longer steal from your neighbor. You don't kill your neighbor. You're not mean to him. You're not insensitive. You're not rude. If your neighbor is hungry, you feed him. If your neighbor needs housing, you help him. If your neighbor is hurt, you hurt with them because you love them. There are no other laws that matter, because there's nothing more to do than love. Love heals, love cares, love does not boast, it's not wrong. So if even for just a minute you can just believe in the historical Jesus, isn't that a beautiful message? Buddha has the same message. He says, be good to your brothers and sisters. Don't kill, don't steal, don't break bonds of relationships. And I know it's not easy all the time. Sometimes it's hard. But can you find that love? I know that if we can, it would be a wonderful world. Imagine, and that brings me up to the John Lennon song. Don't we all think about that? Imagine there's no heaven. It's not hard to do. No hell below us. I hated that song as a kid. As an early Christian, I thought, this guy's crazy, because there is a heaven and hell. We need to make a decision. I know, it's a little bit of a nutcase. In my young, simple understanding, I rebelled, looking at the surface, the trees, and missing the whole forest. Because we want rules. We want the gold stars for doing good, and we want the lashes for those who do bad. It's just human nature. And Jesus says, though, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So that kind of turns that on its head. Much like the prodigal son parable that we talked about in last blog. Love doesn't keep score. It doesn't keep score. We keep score. He doesn't. He loves. Can you begin to love without a scoreboard? I try very hard in my own personal life to love every person as I love myself, to make them feel loved, to put a smile on their face, to cheer them up. My favorite thing is to make people laugh. It gives me joy. And even in the hard times, when I'm driving and someone cuts me off, I just try to remember, I don't know what their day is like. Maybe they're late for work. Maybe they're late for a job interview. Maybe someone's sick. Or maybe they're just a little blonde like me and weren't paying attention. I don't waste my time with anger on that. The people I don't understand. Why would I? Maybe I don't understand being born a woman, but always feeling like I'm a man inside. Just because it isn't my story or my understanding, does that mean I should be mean or publicly scorn them? I mean, write mean jokes or slurs at their expense? Jesus called us to love. Does a flag have historical meaning to me but offend my brother? Then I take it down in love, because it ain't worth the hurt. Do I disagree with my brother or sister goes to another faith or another denomination? I'm commanded to love. We are commanded to love. Love is not, I love you. Now let me tell you all the ways you're a dirty, rotten sinner and you're bound for hell. I see too often in our faith, we're always like, well, I'm telling you the truth in the name of truth. We have to stop this. If we want more people to come into our faith, into our churches, we have to love them. The truth is, we are the keepers of the law. We are the Sadducees. We are the Pharisees of our day, if we bring this into our world. And Jesus is sitting outside our walls with the poor, the hated, the transgendered, the race that you despise. Let us not make the mistake that they did. Let's embrace the love of God and share it freely with all. I promise you will never go wrong with that, because love wins. #love one another.